We have completed the steps to build and test our first program using Fulltext library. And this project is using a combination of C++ headers and linker library files. C++ header files are plain text files that contain declarations of all sorts. There could be declarations of variables, C++ functions, classes. And here we have an example of a function declaration that takes some parameters, returns something back, and it also uses this semicolon, and there is no function body present here. So once the header is included in your program, regardless where this function definition is located, you can start calling this function from your source. For example, right here we have a function call to this function that was declared, and compiler is able to produce the call to make this function call. And it's the linker's job to determine where the actual implementation of the function is. It's possible that we implement this function in our own C++ file included on a list of source files. It could be written by somebody else and it could reside in a DLL file, which is a dynamic link library. Or it may be written by someone else and it may exist in a binary form inside a lib file. And we've seen the examples of lib files as a result of building our Fulltext library. If you'd like to see a list of DLLs that are loaded together with your executable module, what you can do is you can set a breakpoint somewhere in this code. I'll just set the breakpoint right at the beginning of our main function right here, and I'll build this project now. I'll start running it in debug mode. As soon as the application starts, I stop at my breakpoint in debug mode, and then I go to debug windows, and there's an option to display the modules that are loaded into computer memory together with our executable. If I display that, I will just undock this window, pressing Ctrl down and just dragging this window outside of this dock where it was originally placed, and you see that this is the list of all files that are loaded together into memory together with our executable file. So this is the list of all the DLLs that we're using when running this graphical user application. You can see the locations of the actual binary modules that were loaded, and other information shown here is DLL versions, specific addresses of memory in this 32-bit configuration, and of course this is the identification of our process in which everything is running. Try to dock this back to the bottom of my screen right here, and press debug, stop debugging. And usually when I stop debugging, I delete these breakpoints till I need to debug something again next time. So let's discuss some differences between possibilities that we have different locations of our functions, function implementations. If we implement our own C++ file that defines a function, we don't need any additional steps. The linker will know where to find this function directly in our code. In cases if the function is supplied by a DLL or a lib file, we need to tell the linker where the lib file is located. And we can set the paths to lib file in additional library directories and additional dependencies of your linker configuration. So let's take a look at this. Right here, if I open my project, open our project properties. And here we have our configuration properties. Let's switch to a specific configuration, debug, that we're currently running on. And you can see that under linker input additional dependencies, there are these lib files that we specified in the project configuration. Right here, there's a small scroll box where you again will recognize the names of the files that belong to our Fulltext library that we just built, and here they're actually specified as a list of additional dependencies. This is how the linker will be able to find them. Fulltext library does not use any DLLs, only lib files. We could potentially add our DLL files to the project by simply copying whatever DLL files we like to the location of our executable module. For example, right here, if I look at my project configuration right here, and our current configuration is debug. This is where the executable file is built. So if I wanted to load additional DLL libraries, I could just copy these files right here. I could build them separately, and I could just copy them physically into this space, and they will be found automatically by the executable file if they're located in the same directory. In summary, those library files contain binary code used by the linker to link someone else's code with our executable file. The library files could contain references to functions in some other DLLs, but we don't use them with Fulltext library.